Let yourself grow still now. There is nothing more for you to carry tonight. Whatever the day asked of you, it has stopped asking. You can set it down at the edge of the bed, the way you might set down a heavy cloak after a long walk in the cold, and you can let your shoulders soften, and your hands fall open, and your breath grow slow and deep and quiet, like snow settling over a sleeping field. Listen, if you like, though you do not need to listen closely. The story I am going to tell you tonight is an old one from the far cold north, and it is told slowly, and it asks nothing of you at all, except that you rest. You do not have to remember it. You do not have to follow every word. The words are only a soft road laid down through the dark for you to walk along until you fall asleep. And you are welcome to fall asleep whenever you wish. If your mind drifts away from my voice, let it drift. If your thoughts wander off into the dark, let them wander. That is exactly what is meant to happen here. Tonight we go to the north, to a land of long winters and longer nights, where the people once told stories around their fires of gods who lived in shining halls above the world. They told of Odin, the wanderer, the gray old king of the gods, with his one deep eye and his two black ravens. They told of halls roofed with gold and silver, raised in a high green place beyond the reach of frost. And among all those gods, in all those bright halls, they told of one who was loved more than any other. His name was Baldr. Baldr was the shining one. The old tellers said that light seemed to gather around him, that he was so fair and so bright that a soft glow followed wherever he walked, the way the pale light follows the edge of the world at the close of a northern day. He was gentle. He was kind. There was no cruelty in him anywhere, and no one, god or beast or growing thing, could find a reason to wish him harm. When Baldr came into a hall, the quarrels in it quieted. When he passed through the long grass, the old tellers said, even the grass seemed glad. He was the one the others turned toward, the way you turn your face, without thinking, toward a warm window on a cold night. Picture the land for a moment, the way you might picture a place you loved long ago. The cold is clean there, and the air is sharp and sweet, and the snow lies blue in the long shadows of the afternoon. Far off, on a high green hill that the frost never quite reaches, stand the halls of the gods, their roofs catching the low gold light, their long fires burning warm against the northern dark. The rivers run cold and clear down from the mountains. The forests stand black and patient under their weight of snow. And over all of it spreads the pale, wide sky of the north. That strange, soft sky that is never quite bright and never quite dark, where the light lingers at the edge of the world for hours, unwilling to leave. It is a land made for long rest, for long nights and slow waking, and it is a kind land to fall asleep inside of. And in the brightest of those halls walked Baldr. He was the son of the gray old king Odin and of the high goddess Frigg, and he was beloved of both and of everyone. There was a steadiness to him, a calm at the center of him, the kind of calm that other people lean toward without quite knowing why. When he spoke, people listened, not because his voice was loud, for it was soft, but because there was something in it worth listening to. When he laughed, the hall felt warmer. He carried his light easily, without pride, the way a candle does not boast of its small flame, but simply gives it quietly to the room. So that is who we begin with tonight. The brightest and the best loved of all the gods of the north, walking in his shining hall, with the whole world fond of him, and not a shadow yet upon the day. Let that be enough to begin with. A bright god, deeply loved, in a high golden place, in the long, calm light of the north lying soft over everything. Rest there a moment. We are in no hurry to go on. The story will keep. The night is long and there is time, and you have nowhere to be but here, growing slowly heavier, slowly warmer, slowly nearer to sleep. It began, as such things often do, in sleep. With dreams, Baldr, the Shining One, who had never known a troubled night, began one season to dream darkly. He could not say afterward what the dreams had shown him, only the feeling they left behind. The way you sometimes wake with no picture in your mind, and yet a weight upon your chest, a sense that something has passed close to you in the dark. His dreams were like that, but heavier, and they came again, night after night, and would not leave him. A shadow at the edge of things, a door closing somewhere far off, a sense, faint and cold and certain, that his own light was somehow in danger of going out. He woke from these dreams troubled, and, being honest, as the gentlest souls are, he did not hide them. He spoke of them to the others. And among the gods of the north there was an old, deep belief that the dreams of one so bright and so beloved were not to be brushed aside, that a dream like that was a kind of warning sent up from the roots of the world, where the three old women sat who knew the fates of all things. So the gods grew quiet when Baldr told his dreams. They did not laugh. They looked at one another, and a worry passed among them, soft and cold as a draught under a door. I tell you this gently, because it is the first turn toward the long sorrow of the tale, and I do not want it to trouble you where you lie. Feel how slow it is. Nothing has happened yet. There is only a god who has dreamed badly, and a hall grown thoughtful, and a worry that has not yet found its shape. The danger in this story always comes softly, the way the cold comes into a room when the fire burns low, not all at once, but a little at a time, so that you can stay easy through all of it. Stay easy now. And yet, even troubled, Baldr remained. Baldr remained Baldr. He did not let the dreams make him bitter or afraid in his waking hours. He went on being gentle, went on being kind, went on warming the halls with his quiet light, carrying the cold weight of the nights into the day and setting it down where the others could help him hold it. There is a courage in that which is easy to overlook. The plain, soft courage of one who is frightened in the dark and chooses, in the morning, to be gentle anyway. He did not know what was coming. None of them truly did, but he met his fear the way the best of us try to, by staying kind through it, by not letting it close his open heart. The dreams worried Odin most of all. He was the oldest and the wisest, and he had given up much for his wisdom, even an eye, and he knew better than any of them that a warning, once it has come, is not made smaller by being ignored. So Odin did what he often did when he needed to know a thing that lay hidden. He saddled his great gray horse, the one with 8 legs that could run across the sky and down into the dark, and he rode away from the bright halls, down and down, along the cold roads that led beneath the world, to a place where the dead were said to know things the living could not. Think for a moment of how much love is folded into that kind of worry. It is the worry of one who would rather know a hard thing than rest easy in not knowing, who would rather ride out alone into the cold and the dark than sit safe by the fire while a danger he cannot name draws near to someone he loves. There is fear in it, yes, but underneath the fear, There is only love. The plain, deep love of a parent for a child. The love that cannot leave a thing alone, that must go and see, that must do something, even when there may be nothing at all to be done. You may have felt that love from one side or the other. It is one of the oldest feelings there is, older than these old gods, and there is a warmth in it even when it aches. We will follow him there in a moment, but slowly and from a safe distance. For now, only this: a father, troubled by his son's dark dreams, riding out alone into the dark to learn the truth, because he loved the boy too much to sit still and hope. There is a tenderness even in his fear. Let it settle over the room, soft as the dreams themselves, while you grow heavier and warmer and the night draws on. Down rode Odin, away from the light, along roads that grew colder and dimmer the further he went. The old tellers said that the way to the land of the dead led down beneath the great tree that held up the world, down past the bright places into a country of mist and frost and long silence, where the dead went who had not fallen in battle. It was not a cruel place, only a quiet one, a still gray land beneath the world where things came at last to rest. And somewhere in that quiet, in a low and frost-rimed place, there lay buried the grave of an old wise woman, a seeress who had known the deep things of the world while she lived, and who knew them still, even in her long sleep beneath the earth. To her grave Odin rode, and there he dismounted, and there in the cold he worked an old and solemn magic to wake her. He spoke words over the grave, words of calling and of waking, until at last, slowly, unwillingly, the old seeress stirred in her long sleep and rose, dim and gray, to answer him. "Who calls me?" she asked. "Up out of the dark, where I have lain so long, with the snow upon me and the rain upon me, dead and at rest." And Odin, hiding his name as the wise sometimes do, said only that he was a traveler, and that he had come with questions, and that she must answer. There is something in that picture worth resting on, strange as it is. An old voice, woken from the deepest sleep there is, speaking slow and unwilling out of the dark of the earth. She had been at rest a long time, this seeress, longer than the living can imagine, lying quiet beneath the snow and the frost, with all her knowing folded away inside her like a closed book. And now she was called back, just for a little while, just to answer, before she might sink down again into her long quiet. There is no terror in her. She is only tired, only old, only deep. The dead in this story are not frightening. They are merely the ones who have gone on ahead into the great rest, and who know, because of it, the things that the resting come to know. She was weary, and she did not wish to speak, but the old magic held her, and so she answered. He asked her why the benches of the lower world stood strewn with gold, why the hall below was decked as if for a guest, as if some honored one were awaited. And the old seeress answered him, slow and cold and certain. "The mead stands brewed," she said. "The hall stands ready. They are waiting down here in the dark for Baldr to come. They are making the place ready for the Shining One." Odin had feared it, and now he knew it, and knowing did not make it lighter. He stood in the cold gray land and felt the truth of it settle into him like frost into stone. His son, the brightest of them all, was fated to come down into this still gray country and take his place upon the gold-strewn benches of the dead. The dreams had told true. The warning was real, and there is little the old tellers knew That hurts more than a warning you can hear clearly and could not find any way to stop. He asked her more, the old gray king, pressing her with his questions in the cold. But I will let those questions go for now, for they lead toward harder things, and this is not a knife for hard things. Let it be enough that Odin learned what he had written down to learn, and that it was sorrowful, and that he turned at last and rode the long, cold road back up toward the light with the knowledge heavy in him. Feel how he carries it quietly. He does not cry out. He does not rage against it. He simply gathers the hard truth to himself and rides home. The way the strong sometimes carry what they cannot change. You may sit down, for tonight, whatever hard truths you have been carrying, you do not have to ride anywhere with them. You can leave them at the edge of the bed and rest. When Odin came home with what he had learned, the gods grieved, and then they did the thing that love does when it is frightened. They set about trying to save him. And here the story turns, for a while, toward its tenderest part, and I want you to rest in it, because it is one of the kindest things in all the old tales. Baldr's mother was the goddess Frigg, the wife of Odin, the highest of the goddesses, and she loved her shining son with the whole of her great heart. When she heard of the dreams and of what the old seeress had said, she did not sit down in her sorrow. She rose up, and she went out into the world, all the wide world, to gather from every single thing in it a promise that it would never, ever harm her son. Think of the slow patience of that. Frigg went out across the whole of creation, and one by one, she asked everything that was to swear an oath. She went to the fire and asked the fire to swear it would never burn him, and the fire swore. She went to the water and asked the water to swear it would never drown him, and the water swore. She went to the iron and all the metals and asked them to swear they would never wound him, and they swore. She went to the stones and asked the stones, and they swore. She asked the earth itself, and the earth swore. She asked the great trees, the oak and the ash and the pine, and they swore. She asked the diseases that bring fever and weakness, and even they swore they would never come near him. She did not stop there. She asked the birds and the beasts. She asked the serpents that move low in the grass. She asked, the old teller said, every living thing and every dead thing, every poison and every danger, every sharp and heavy and burning and biting thing in all the world, and one by one, gladly, every one of them swore the oath. For who would not swear to spare Baldr, even the things that hurt, the fire and the frost and the iron, even they loved the Shining One, and were glad to promise they would never be the thing that brought him low. So the whole world, all of it, made its solemn promise to a mother, and the world meant to keep it. Imagine the slowness of that long journey, and let its slowness slow you. Season after season she walked, over the mountains and down into the valleys, along the shores of the cold sea and through the deep forests, and she missed nothing, and she hurried nowhere. She knelt in the snow to ask the small stones. She stood beneath the great trees and asked each kind of them, the bending birch and the dark pine and the broad old oak. She went down to the water's edge at dusk and asked the river and the lake and the wide gray sea. She spoke to the heavy iron in the deep places of the earth and to the bright copper and the cold gold. She asked the fevers and the aches and the slow sicknesses, the things that creep, the things that bite, the things that burn. And every one of them, without exception, listened to the soft asking of the mother, and bowed and swore. There was no thing in all the world so harsh that it would not soften for her sake and for his. Feel the great gentleness of that picture. A mother walking out across all the earth, kneeling to the stones, speaking softly to the fire, asking the wide green forests, gathering up the loving promises of the whole world to keep her child safe. There is so much love in it, more love than fear in the end. And when she was finished, when everything that could be asked had sworn, Frigg came home, and her heart was eased. For it seemed to her that nothing left in all the world could possibly do her son any harm. The world had promised. Baldr was safe. Let yourself believe it for a moment, the way she believed it, and rest in the warmth of a danger that seems, for now, to have passed. Now there came a happy time, the brightest the gods had known, and I want to give it to you fully before the story turns again, because the gladness in it is real, and it is meant to be enjoyed. For when the gods understood what Frigg had done, that the whole world had sworn never to harm Baldr, they made of it a kind of game, a joyful one, and the shining halls rang with laughter. They would have Baldr stand up in the middle of the hall, and then, one by one, they would throw things at him, or strike at him, or shoot at him, to see the wonder of it, the way nothing in all the world could touch him. A god would hurl a stone, and the stone would swerve aside, or fall short, or strike him gently and do no harm at all. Another would cut at him with a blade, and the blade would turn away of its own accord, remembering its oath. They threw spears that would not pierce him. They threw axes that would not bite. And every time, Baldr stood unharmed in the center of the hall, shining, smiling, untouched. And the gods roared with delight. It became the favorite sport of the bright halls, to honor Baldr, to celebrate him, to marvel at how the whole world loved him and would not hurt him. There was no malice in it anywhere. It was pure gladness. The gladness of people who have been afraid and are afraid no longer, who have feared to lose someone dear and now find that he cannot be lost, that the whole of creation has wrapped itself around him to keep him safe. They laugh the way you laugh when a worry lifts with your whole chest, with relief at the bottom of the joy. And Baldr himself stood in the middle of it, gentle and glowing, and let them, because it made them happy, and because there was no fear left in him either. He had dreamed darkly, and his mother had answered the darkness with the love of the whole world, and now the darkness seemed very far away. He stood in the warm light of the hall, while the stones and the spears swerved harmlessly around him like swallows wheeling at dusk, and he smiled, and the gods cheered. And for a while everything was as good as it had ever been in all the long story of the North. There is a deep human truth folded gently into this happy scene, and you do not have to hold it, only let it warn you. It is the relief that comes after fear. The gods had been afraid, truly afraid, that they would lose the one they loved best, and now that fear had been answered, and answered fully, by the love of the whole wide world. And so their joy was not a thin or careless joy. It was the rich, deep, grateful joy of people who have stood at the edge of losing something and have been given it back. That is the warmest gladness there is. You may have felt it, the night a worry lifted at last, the hour you learned that someone dear was going to be all right after all. The body goes loose with it. The chest unclenches. You can breathe all the way down again. That was the gladness in the shining hall, and it was good, and it was deserved. Hold that picture as you drift. The bright hall full of laughter, the shining god standing safe and smiling in the middle of it, The whole world's love made visible, every stone and spear turning gently aside. It is a good and happy thing, and you are allowed to rest in it as long as you like. The night is long. There is no need to hurry on toward what comes next. Stay here in the warm, loud, joyful hall, where, for now, nothing can go wrong, and let your breath go slow, and let the laughter fade softly into the quiet of your own warm room. But there was one thing in all the world that had not sworn. One small, soft, harmless-seeming thing that Frigg, in all her careful asking, had passed over. I tell you this very gently, for it is the quiet hinge on which the whole sorrow turns. And yet, there is nothing frightening in the thing itself. It was only a small plant. The mistletoe, a slender green sprig that grows not from the ground, but high up in the branches of other trees. A little thing with pale berries, soft and young and seeming far too small and too gentle to matter. When Frigg had gone out gathering her oaths from all the world, she had come to the mistletoe, or passed near it, and she had thought, "This is too young, too small, too soft a thing to ask. What harm could ever come from something so slight?" And so she had not asked it. She had let it be. One small green sprig, unsworn, among all the sworn and promising world. It was the gentlest of oversights, made out of love, out of a mother's wish not to trouble a harmless little plant with so solemn a thing as an oath. And it would have stayed a small and harmless thing forever, except that there was, among the gods, one who watched and listened and was not glad. His name, in the old tales, was the trickster, the sly one who lived among the gods, but was never quite one of them, who delighted in mischief and in turning things sideways, and who, for reasons the old tellers tell more than one way, did not share in the great love that all the world bore for Baldr. He saw the joyful game in the hall, and it did not warm him as it warmed the others. Instead, he grew curious, and his curiosity was a cold thing. He wondered how it could be that nothing could harm the shining god. And so he went, in a borrowed shape, gentle and womanly and harmless to look at, to where Frigg sat, and he fell to talking with her, kindly as a friend might. And Frigg, easy in her heart now that her son was safe, spoke freely. She told of the oaths, of how she had gone out and asked all the world to spare her son. And the sly one, very softly, as if only making conversation, asked whether truly everything in all the world had sworn. And Frigg, suspecting nothing, gave the small and fateful answer. There was one thing, she said, that she had passed over. A little sprig of mistletoe, growing west of the shining hall. It had seemed too young, too small, to bother asking. What harm could come from so soft a thing? Feel how quietly the door opens here. No alarm, no raised voice, only a kind mother speaking trustingly to one who seemed a friend, and one small honest answer given in an easy hour. The sorrow that comes does not come crashing in. It slips in through a soft word spoken in a moment of peace. There is a sadness in that, but a strange tenderness too, for the oversight was made of love, and the answer was given in trust. And neither of those is a thing to be ashamed of. Let the room stay quiet around you. Nothing has happened yet. There is only a small green plant, and the secret now known, and the long night still wrapped warm around you. I will tell this part most softly of all, and slowly, for it is the heart of the sorrow, and you may, if you wish, Let it carry you under before it is even finished. There is no need to stay awake for it. The gentleness is in the telling, not in the holding on. The sly one went out, west of the shining hall, and found the small sprig of mistletoe growing high in its tree, and he took it. And from that soft green sprig, he made a little dart, a slender shaft, the only thing in all the world that had never promised to spare the shining god. And then he carried it back to the hall where the joyful game went on, where the gods still laughed and threw their harmless stones and spears. And Baldr still stood smiling in the center of the light. At the edge of that bright company stood Baldr's brother, a god who was blind, and who therefore could not join the game, for he could not see to aim. He stood quietly to one side, listening to the laughter he could not share in, and there was a loneliness in him, standing apart in the dark of his blindness while the others played. The sly one came to him gently and asked why he did not honor his brother like the rest. The blind god said only that he could not see where Baldr stood and that he had nothing to throw. And the sly one said softly, "I will help you. I will guide your hand. Throw this and honor your brother as the others do." And he put the little dart of mistletoe into the blind god's hand and turned him toward the light and aimed him true. The blind god, glad to be included at last, glad to honor the brother he loved, drew back his arm and threw. And the small, soft sprig of mistletoe, the one thing in all the world that had never sworn, flew straight and true across the bright hall. And it did not swerve, and it did not turn aside, and it did not fall short. It found the shining god, and it struck him, and Baldr, the brightest and best loved of all the gods of the north, fell down upon the floor of his own bright hall, and his light went out. The hall went silent. The laughter stopped. For a long moment no one moved, no one spoke, no one could believe what their eyes had shown them. The shining one was down. The light that had warmed all their halls lay still upon the floor, and the blind brother stood there with his empty hand still open, not yet understanding what he had done, having meant only love. And here is the part that holds the deepest tenderness, the part to rest your heart upon. There was no villain standing over the fallen god. The hand that threw was a loving hand. The blind brother had wanted only to be let into the joy, to honor the one he loved like all the rest. He had meant nothing but good, and good was all that had been in his heart as he drew back his arm. The sorrow of this old story is not the sorrow of cruelty meeting kindness. It is the gentler, sadder thing, the thing that loves know that sometimes the deepest hurts come not from malice at all, but from love guided wrong, from a good heart turned without its knowing toward harm. There is no one here to hate. There is only loss, and the love that was on every side of it, even on the side of the hand that let it fly. It was the heaviest silence in all the old stories, a grief so large and so sudden that for a while it had no words in it at all, only the stunned quiet of those who have lost, without warning, the thing they loved most in the world. I will not press on the pain of it. I will only let it lie there, soft and heavy, the way grief lies. The shining god was gone. Let that be all for now. Let the silence of that hall be a quiet you can sink into, dark and gentle. And if you are already drifting, drift. The story will hold you the rest of the way. Now there came a grief so great that it spread out from the shining hall and into all the world. And I tell you of it, not to deepen your sorrow, but to ease it. For there is a strange comfort in being mourned, and a strange tenderness in a whole world that weeps for one it loved. The gods grieved as gods had never grieved before. Odin grieved most of all, for he alone fully understood what had been lost and what it meant for the long story of the world. And Frigg, the mother, grieved as only a mother can, and yet even in her grief she did not give up. She asked whether anyone among the gods would ride down the long, cold road to the land of the dead, to the Grey Queen who ruled below, whose name was Hel, and beg for Baldr to be released, to be allowed to come home. And one stepped forward, a swift and faithful god named Hermod, and he took Odin's own great gray eight-legged horse, and he rode down along the cold, dark roads beneath the world to plead for the Shining One's return. While Hermod rode, the gods made ready to honor Baldr as the North honored its greatest dead. They carried his body down to the sea, to his own great ship, the largest of all ships, and they laid him upon it, meaning to send him out upon the water wrapped in fire, as was the way of that land. And to that farewell there came, the old tellers said, not only the gods, but all the kinds of beings in the world, the frost things and the mountain things, all of them coming to stand upon the shore and mourn. For even those who were enemies of the gods could not stay away from the passing of one so loved. The whole world gathered upon that gray shore in the pale northern light to say goodbye. And it is here, in the great farewell upon the shore, that I find the gentleness folded inside the grief. For Baldr was not slipping away, unmourned, unloved, forgotten. He was passing surrounded by everything that was, every god and every creature and every old enemy, all of them brought to the same quiet shore by the same quiet sorrow, all of them, for once, weeping together. His ship was loaded with treasures, with the things of honor and of love, and the old tellers told a small, heartbreaking thing, that his wife came down to the shore and her heart broke at the sight of him, so that she lay down beside him and went with him, unwilling to be parted, so that he did not even go out upon the dark water alone. The fire was lit, and the great ship was pushed out upon the gray sea, burning softly against the long northern dusk, carrying the shining god out toward the far horizon where the sky and the water meet. And all the world stood upon the shore and watched the light of him go, smaller and smaller upon the darkening sea, until it was only a distant glow, and then only a memory of a glow, and then the quiet dark of the water and the falling night. Stay a while with the picture of that shore, for there is great gentleness in it. The pale northern dusk lay long and soft over the gray water. The fires of the farewell glowed warm against the cold, and gathered there, shoulder to shoulder upon the shingle, stood beings who had never stood together before and never would again, all of them quieted, all of them softened by the same single sorrow, grief. The old tellers seemed to know, has a way of drawing the whole world close around the one who was mourned, of gathering even the far and the cold and the unfriendly in toward a common warmth. No one who is loved like that is ever truly alone, not even at the end. They are wrapped, at the last, in all the love they ever gave, returned to them at once. Let yourself feel how the whole world mourned, and let it comfort you to be loved like that, to be missed by the fire and the frost, by the gods and their enemies alike, by the very stones. There is no loneliness in this passing. There is only a great and gather tenderness. A whole world standing together in the cold dusk, watching a beloved light go softly out across the sea. If tears come, let them come gently, the way the soft rain comes, and let them ease you, and let the slow burning light upon the water carry you the rest of the way down toward sleep. So the shining god went down into the gray land below, and Hermod found him there, seated in honor upon the gold-strewn benches, as the old seeress had foretold so long before. And Hermod begged the Grey Queen Hel for his release, and she, who was not cruel, gave a gentle answer. If all things in the world, she said, every living and every dead thing would weep for Baldr, then she would let him go home to the light. But if even one thing would not weep, then he must stay below with her. And so word went out across all the world, asking everything to weep for Baldr that he might come home. And the whole world wept. The gods wept, and the people wept, and the beasts wept, and the trees wept, and the stones wept, and the metals wept. The old tellers said that this is why, even now, you will see the cold iron and the bare stones beaded with wet on certain mornings, weeping still for the shining god. Everything in all the world wept for him, every single thing, save one, a single old hard heart that would not. And so, by the Grey Queen's word, Baldr could not come home. Not yet. Not in this age of the world. There is no need to let that single hard heart trouble you tonight. It is only there to tell you a quiet truth. That there are some sorrows the world cannot weep its way out of, some losses that must be carried for a while rather than undone. And the old tellers knew that carrying is its own kind of love. To go on, to keep the memory of the shining one warm in the dark, to tend the grief gently rather than be crushed by it. This too is a way of loving what is gone. Frigg did not get her son back, and yet she did not stop being his mother, and the world did not stop being a world that had once held his light, and somewhere in that holding the loss became something quieter, something a heart could live beside. And here the old tellers did not end in despair, and neither will we, for they folded into the very deepest part of the story a far and quiet hope, and it is the gentlest hope there is. They said that this was not the true end of Baldr. They told that the world itself was old, and would one day grow very old indeed, and pass through a long darkness, a great winter and an ending of the age. But beyond that ending, they said, beyond the long dark, a new world would rise up green and clean out of the sea, fresh and unwearied, washed of all its old sorrows. And in that new green world, in the soft light of a second morning, Baldr would come back. The Shining One would return from the land of the dead and walk again in the new green grass, and the long grief would be over. And the light that went out would be lit once more, gentler and surer than before. So the death of the shining god was never, in the end, a final dark. It was a long sleep before waking, a light gone under the horizon, not gone forever, but gone the way the sun goes down, in the north, low and lingering, promising the dawn. The old tellers, in their cold land of long nights, understood this better than most. They knew that the longest dark is the one that comes just before the turning of the year, and that even then, even at the very bottom of the winter, the light is already, secretly, on its way back. They put that knowledge into the heart of their saddest story, so that even grief, in the north, was wrapped around a seed of returning. Let that be the thought you carry down into sleep, that nothing truly beloved is ever finally lost, that the light which goes out is only resting, only gone under the long horizon, only waiting for the new green morning when it will rise again. That you, yourself, lying here in the dark, are not ending the day but only setting it down for a while, sinking under your own soft horizon to rise again, remade, in a morning that is already on its way. The grief of the world is real, and it is honored, and then it is gently let go, the way the shore lets go of the burning ship, the way the night lets go, at last, of even the longest dark. The hall is quiet now. The shore is empty. The light has gone out softly upon the sea, and the world has wept, and the far hope is folded safe into the dark, waiting for its green morning. There is nothing left for you to grieve tonight, and nothing left for you to do. The shining God is resting in the gray land, honored and loved until the world turns. And you are resting here, held in the warm dark, until your own world turns toward morning. Let my voice grow faint now. Let the words blur softly into the quiet. Let yourself sink, slow and warm and gentle, down past the last thin edge of waking, into the deep still rest where the light is only sleeping. Sleep now. The light is only resting. The morning is on its way. Good night.